and they said Kevin De Bruyne is washed. What a load of nonsense. Some idiots out there, man. Some seriously bad, foolish takes that get pumped into the YouTube and general footballing media out there right now. There's some shockingly bad takes, and Kevin De Bruyne being washed is right up there. It's right up there as one of the worst. Smacking in 2 wonderful goals for Manchester City yesterday with an assist to boot as well, and a performance outside of those numbers that were just fantastic. It was a fantastic performance from Kevin De Bruyne, and Manchester City on the whole in the second half were very assured, very composed. Some really shaky, rocky performances in the first half though that I'll get onto shortly. Statistically, City dominated, as you can see, with the 75% possession, 18 shots, 8 on target to Palace's 7-4. XG a little bit overperformed from City, but and Palace is quite high as well. They've overperformed as well. Typical City. I mean, that's the name of the channel. Like and subscribe. But it is also typical City to be conceding on the first shot once again. Back of the net it goes, and what a finish as well. Again, we seem to be on the receiving end of wonderful goals this season, but very open at the back to give the opposition these chances, and we've got to cut it out. These mistakes, we've got to cut it out. But 5 big chances as well to Manchester City, and Palace had 3. So that's concerning that Palace were able to generate as many big chances as that. But in the second half, I felt like we took control of that game and we dominated overall, and that the 4-2 scoreline was deserved. If anything, I felt a bit annoyed that it was 4-2. Should have been 4-1, really. I felt like we deserved to win that game comfortably in the end with that second half performance. It was a good second half from Manchester City. Now, moving on to the player rating, starting with Stefan Ortega. One thing I want to talk about immediately was that Cruyff turn in the 6-yard box saved us, because we were up against it. We were under the cosh at that point, getting a little bit shaky with a pass from Rodri back to Ortega, and Ortega, mate, Rodri's buying him a pint. Rodri's like, Stefan, do you want to go to the pub, mate, after this? Because I owe you a pint. At least, you know, what a Cruyff turn that was in the 6-yard box. Wonderful goalkeeping, footwork, typical of Ederson, really, what we've seen from him. And now you're looking at Ederson and Ortega like, well, is Ederson getting back into this starting 11? Because Ortega, not only is he proving to be close to being the Ederson standard of footwork, he's putting in good saves as well. You know, that's what one of Ederson's weak spots. He did concede 2 goals, nothing he can do about it though. 2 saves, 2 out of 6 long balls were accurate. Not the greatest there with that accuracy, but still, you know, he was solid enough for me to warrant a 7. Like I said, nothing he could have done about the 2 goals. Ruben Diaz, I was really positive with him yesterday. I do want to highlight the fact that their second goal, it was one of them, you know, he looked at the wrong time. We're talking about a split-second decision from a defender when that cross comes in for Crystal Palace's second goal. He looks just, as every good defender should do, check where your man is. You've got to look where the attacker is. Is he about to make a run? The second he turned, that was the exact same second that Edouard had swooped in front over the shoulder of Ruben Diaz and got in front of him. That split-second decision to look at that particular moment cost it, and it left Ruben Diaz in no man's land. It was very easy for Palace to get down that side of the pitch as well, which was a frustrating aspect as well. But outside of that, I thought Ruben Diaz was really good, as you can see. One thing I wanted to highlight as well, which I don't often do for Ruben Diaz, is talk about his distribution, because I felt like he was really strong with his passing. 2 key passes from Ruben Diaz. 11 long ball attempts, of which 8 were accurate, and he has a passing accuracy of 95%. With 154 touches combined with all that, that's really good, and it's not his strongest point, ball distribution from Ruben Diaz, but it was really good yesterday. But that one little moment that you can look at and be really critical of if you want to, I'm sure there'll be people out there that'll want to blame him for doing that you know, split-second decision and holding him accountable for something as tiny as that, which is, I mean, at this level of football, it becomes accountable in truth because it cost us a goal. It was unfortunate, though. I don't feel like any other defender would have done anything differently in that situation. It's just a really frustrating moment to concede that second goal. But outside of that, I thought it was solid. Really, really good. 7 out of 10 for Ruben Diaz. Josko Gvardiol, why did he come off? I'm a bit confused at that. Maybe the yellow card. Did he do something on the pitch to offend Pep Guardiola? I don't think so. I thought it was a reasonably solid first half performance. But he came off. For Akanji, you're wondering if it was the yellow card. Because, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was just as simple as that, the yellow card. But you can see aerial duels, 3 out of 3 were won. No tackles to speak of, but we're talking about 45 minutes of football. We didn't have too much defending to do other than the 3 clearances. That's combined with those aerial duels as well. 2 ground duels, you won 1 of them. I thought he was decent in the first half. Just that yellow card, which was deserving, to be honest. 7 out of 10 for Josko Gvardiol. Akanji came on for the second half. There was that one mistake, that error led to a shot, as you can see at the bottom of his graphic there. Yeah, I thought he was okay. He came down the left-hand side a couple of times. He linked up with Jack Grealish reasonably well. Defensively, though, that big error, he was really lucky that I'm not, taking him to the cleaners in my review, my player ratings for him, because that should have been a goal. Ruben Diaz saved his bacon, mate. He got across. And I think it might have been Edouard again. I can't remember, or maybe Schlupp. I can't remember who it was who the ball broke to. I know it was Elise's pass that put it into the 6-yard box, and it was I think it was Edouard whose shot. He just took an eternity to get his shot away, and Ruben Diaz blocked it. But it was Manuel Akanji dilly-dallying with it, like on the edge of the area, near towards the corner flag, just messing about with it, and the ball gets poked out of his possession. That should have been a goal to Crystal Palace, and Akanji would have been definitely to blame for that one. So he got away with that one. But 45 minutes of football, I don't think he did quite as well as Josko, in truth, in that first half, compared to that first half performance. But we're talking about a right-sided centre-back who's playing effectively left-back. Came on as a bit of a surprise as well. He did okay. 6.5 for Manuel Akanji. 6 out of 10 for John Stones, though, and he's a bit lucky that he's getting the 6, to be honest. Second half, he composed himself. He was assured. But this is the thing with stats. There's the error that led to a shot for Manuel Akanji, because it was an error that was a direct shot that came from it. There was one for Rodri that you'll see in a second as well. That was an error. The Jordan Ayew shot that clipped the bar. John Stones' error that's not gone down statistically as an error that led to a goal, because of the actions that take place after it. With a couple of passes, well, one pass from Adam Wharton sending Mateta away on goal. John Stones is absolutely to blame for that one, though. Statistically, it's not gone down as that, which is a flaw in stats to begin with, which is why we should be trusting our own eyes as much as we look at the stats. It's nice to look at the stats, but you got to trust what you see at times. And John Stones, that was a major error in the first 5 minutes of the game that cost us a goal. We can't be afforded to doing things like that against Real Madrid. I'm sure he won't. I mean, that's probably his first mistake of the season. So let's cut him some slack on that. But second half, he composed himself. He was pretty assured in that second half. Passing retention was kept at a decent standard as well, with 96%. 1 key pass, an interception, a clearance, 1 ground duel to speak of, and he didn't win it. But still, that error was a big one. 6 out of 10 for John Stones. Rico Lewis, brilliant in midfield. Really good. The tenacity that we've grown to expect from Rico. He's added a goal to his game in this performance as well, which is why he's getting the 8.5. But 2 shots, 2 on target, 6 ground duels, which is his weak spot. For me, he's not the most physical guy. He does get bullied off the ball occasionally due to his size, but he won 5 of them. Fair play to the little pit bull, man. I love his attitude, mate. His attitude is absolutely spot on. The sort of attitude that we need in a title race, in truth. 2 key passes and a tackle as well. A goal that was, it was deflected, but I think it has gone down as a Rico Lewis goal. I think it was probably creeping in the corner anyway. But brilliant, he's come on the last 2 games as a surprise in the Arsenal game. He got the game against Villa, played really well in both of those games, and he's backed it up with a 3rd performance in a row of the highest standard. So really pleased and looking forward to what Rico Lewis can do, because he's still a kid. He's a kid. He's playing at a ridiculous level. Really good. 8.5. Rodri, first half, absolutely shocking. What was that first half from Rodri? I haven't seen him play like that for quite some time. As you can see, error led to shot. That was definitely him. The one that Jordan Ayew smashed off the bar. 1 key pass, no tackles from Rodri, which is a surprise. He played into the second half as well, came off in the 74th minute, but he kept the passing accuracy to a decent standard, still with 93%. 4 ground duels, he only won 2 of them. Is it fatigue? Is he a bit tired? Has he got one eye on Real Madrid? Potentially. Not his greatest performance. Second half, though, he bagged himself an assist, laid it on a plate for Kevin De Bruyne, and it was really good finish from Kevin. But the awareness of Rodri to see the run from Kevin De Bruyne as approaching his left-hand side, touches it a couple yards in front of him, cushioned touch. Love that from Rodri. But like I said, similar to John Stones, second half upped his game, showed what he's all about, but first half can't be forgotten. 7 out of 10 for Rodri, and the assist definitely helps with that. Nunes and Kovacic, I'm going to leave their stats on the board for you because I'm going to combine these two into one sentence, really, because I feel like they both came on, and it's tough to say. Nunes didn't really come on and offer that level of control that you want, in truth, because if you look at the passing accuracy, 73% in a game that we're winning 4-1 when he comes onto the pitch. He's come onto the pitch and he's lost a level of control with his appearance. But, I mean, he's got stuck in there. He's got a clearance to his name and a ground jewel. One shot wasn't on target. He was a bit impatient with it as that ball came over the top and he volleyed it over the bar. We need to see a level of control from Nunes. It's not really his game, but if he's coming on into a game where we're 4-1 up, he needs to be a little bit more level-headed and composed, like Kovacic, which I'll bring on to shortly. Matheus Nunes, 6 out of 10. Kovacic, 6.5 out of 10. Now, he's getting the 0.5 because he did bring a bit of a control. He gave the ball away in a key area that didn't amount to anything, thankfully, but there was one big error from Kovacic. But he did bring a level of control that Nunes didn't. As you can see, his passing accuracy is decent, and that's a reasonable number of passes as well. 86% with 27 touches to his name as well. A key pass, 2 tackles, 4 ground jewels. He won 3 of them. A dribble attempts, he completed it. And I mean, it's only 16 minutes of football that we're talking about, so I've given him a 6.5, but not bad at all as a substitute appearance, but it coincided with Nunes, who they both came on together. Now, I still believe in Nunes, by the way. I don't want to badmouth him too much because I think there's a future there for Matheus Nunes. He's just got to learn. If he's going to be making substitute appearances, he's got to be like Kovacic, bringing a level of control and game management, you know, see the game out, you know, win the game 4-1, that's fine, you know, we can't be conceding goals, and the fluidity of the game died when De Bruyne and Rodri both left the pitch, which was unfortunate, but 6.5 for Kovacic. Man of the match, Kevin De Bruyne. Who else? The guy is washed, apparently. I mean, what a nonsense take that is. Look at these ridiculous numbers from Kevin De Bruyne. 3 big chances created, 4 key passes, 2 goals, an assist, and what goals they were, by the way. 3 shots, 2 on target. Ground jewels, I mean, yeah, he could do a little bit better there, but there's your Kevin De Bruyne. 26 times he gave the ball away. Well, he didn't give the ball away. Possession lost is an interesting statistic. It can be anything, possession lost, like a bad touch, gone out for a throw-in, a free kick, offside. That's technically a possession lost. 26 times, though, from Kevin De Bruyne is, and you can see that there in the passing accuracy at 81%. That's his game. Now, we need to build our formation around players like Kevin De Bruyne and bring in players who can control the game around Kevin De Bruyne and have him being the risk taker. He's the risky one. He's the risky player, the one who tries those passes and maybe occasionally gives it away. But without him taking the risks, he wouldn't have scored those wonder goals that he scored yesterday. And threading eye-of-the-needle passes that splits open defences. That's Kevin De Bruyne. And if we can just provide control around him, you know, well, I don't see why we can't go and win more trophies this year with this man playing to that level that he played to yesterday. Absolutely sensational. Washed my fucking arse. 9.5 out of 10. Man of the match for Kevin De Bruyne. Jack Grealish's stats are a really interesting read because they're not very good, but he played really well. You know, and this is the problem with stats. If you look at each goal, go back and look at each goal. The Kevin De Bruyne first goal, okay? That comes from a Jack Grealish attempted cross, but he beat his fullback. His cross was blocked, but it came to Kevin De Bruyne. Jack Grealish was involved in that goal. You know, that his involvement in all of the goals was clear as day, but he doesn't get an assist somehow. You know, he's not going to get the accolades. He's not going to get the highlights and the headlines around Jack Grealish, but he was involved in that first goal. Really, really good. And he was a bit fortunate how it broke to Kevin De Bruyne. Second goal doesn't go down as an assist because that he beat his fullback again, gets one into the box. This time it was cleared just skim the top of the head of Anderson, lands to Rico Lewis, who puts it in, and because it touches Anderson's head, it's technically not an assist for Jack Grealish. The third goal, lovely, lovely football from Manchester City all round. He was the pass before the pass. You know, the David Silva type pass. We look at David Silva and his assist numbers were never that high. Decent, but never that high. Jack Grealish, who was playing on that sort of role yesterday where he's the most important pass wasn't the assist because the Haaland's goal, the assist from Kevin De Bruyne, was kind of hard to not find Erling Haaland. It was a 5-yard pass, a square pass across the face of goal. Very easy for Kevin De Bruyne to find Erling Haaland in that situation. The hard pass was finding Kevin De Bruyne, which was what Jack Grealish did, where he drifted inside and cut it down a blind alley that no one saw from a Crystal Palace perspective, but only Jack and Kevin De Bruyne, who were both on the same wavelength, found that passage of play, and it split Palace wide open for the goal. It was Jack Grealish again. You look at the involvement for the 4th goal, of which Kevin De Bruyne thunder-bastard in right into that bottom corner from that Rodri cushion. It was a lovely 1-2 with Kevin De Bruyne and Jack Grealish. Again, lovely football. Getting down to that byline after the pass from Kevin De Bruyne, laid off by Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish gets it across into Rodri's feet. Rodri lays it off for Kevin De Bruyne. Jack Grealish, once again, at the absolute epicentre of all of Manchester City's goals yesterday. But he doesn't get an assist and he doesn't get a goal. So it's hard to give him anything less than an 8 out of 10 in my opinion, because his stats don't read good reading. 2 dribbles, he didn't complete them. 3 shots, definitely needs to improve on that. 0 on target, he won 3 out of 5 ground duels. They're not glamorous stats, but that's the issue with stats, is Jack Grealish put in an absolutely wonderful performance yesterday for Manchester City, and 8 out of 10 is the least that he deserves. Oscar Bob, really good. Similar to Jack Grealish, I thought he was one of our bright players in that first half. Him and Rico Lewis in particular linked up really well down that right-hand side in the first half. He went a little bit quiet in the second half, Oscar Bob, but thankfully the rest of the team picked their game up. Not quite to the standard of Jack Grealish's involvement, Oscar Bob, but he was good. He was good down that right-hand side. 7 out of 10 is fair. Again, ground duels could do better. Dribble attempts could do a little bit better, but he was good. I thought he was effective. He was often presenting himself, made himself available for the team. Good. I'm looking forward to the future of Oscar Bob. Really am. 7 out of 10. Alvarez, a quiet performance, but yeah, frustrating afternoon for Alvarez. But I don't want to write this guy off, man. It's like, I feel like he still is living in the shadows of Erling Haaland still. And I think he doesn't get the love that he deserves, in truth, Alvarez, because he just turns up, he does a job. He's been asked to play in ridiculous positions this season. The very few times he has played up front, he's played well. Yesterday, he was drifting in midfield. He struggled to have an impact yesterday. But his ball retention's good, 94%. He's got a key pass. It's those 2 big chances that he missed there. That's a concern. Again, he's got to start finding the back of the net a little bit more. Should have scored against Villa. Should have scored yesterday against Palace as well. 4 shots, only 1 on target. I still believe this guy's going to be an absolute worldie, and he's a trophy magnet, so I don't want to see him leaving the club anytime soon. I'd like to see him being here for the next 5 years at least, Julan Alvarez, because there's a massive future for this guy. I firmly believe that. But yesterday, could have done better, 6.5 out of 10. Erling Haaland, kind of similar to Alvarez, except he's put it in the back of the net. 1 goal for Erling Haaland definitely helps his score, which is why he's got a 7 out of 10. 2 shots, both on target. But again, it was just waiting for Manchester City's midfield to do something. Should have scored in the first half as well. If he puts that in the back of the net, and I think we're looking at an Erling Haaland who's potentially turned a corner in form, in belief, in his ability to find the back of the net consistently once again. He should have finished that 1-on-1, but the goal he did score was probably one that's harder to miss. But still, right place, right time, back of the net it goes. 7 out of 10 for Erling Haaland, and I'd love to see him get another tap-in against Real Madrid. I don't care how it goes in the back of the net. That's what it's his bread and butter. Tap-ins are Erling Haaland, and I don't care if that offends anybody, if it's like, oh, if that's all he's going to offer. You've got to be there, mate. You've got to be there. It's an art, finding the right place to be in the penalty area and being there for a tap-in. It's a skill, and an underrated one at that. 7 out of 10 for Erling Haaland. Absolutely, well, I wouldn't say fantastic, but absolutely fantastic to see him finding the score, put himself on the score sheet again. And Manchester City could be looking at an Erling Haaland that could have turned a corner. We need to see him against Real Madrid to really test him. But that's the player ratings completed. What's yours? Get in the comments below. I want to hear your thoughts. Like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now.